Today we are talking about something that I urge people do not do. Moving to Spain without ever visiting, let alone moving to Spain without visiting and never actually living away from the family home. I want you to meet my client and now a friend, Isa, and she's going to give you the lowdown on how she felt about moving to a country she'd never visited before. She's also going to let us know if being from a Latin American country actually helped or hindered her. Also, how she chose where to live completely blind, what nearly broke her, and how she feels about Spain now. This is no glorified Instagram post. This is a real story with zero sugarcoating. So let's meet Isa and find out her story.
I got here with a digital nomad visa in 2024. This year, I will apply since I am Latin American. I can apply for citizenship after 2 years. So yeah, in October, I will have 2 years living here. I can't believe it.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been 2 years. Wow. So yes, I am from El Salvador, but for a very long time, I have been working remotely with companies in the United States or other countries. So I filled the requirements of the visa, and I came with that visa on September 2024. Thanks to your amazing help, Natasha. I don't know what I would have been without you. I'm so glad that I found you and we found each other. I think it was about June or July on that year because I was already working with some lawyers, but I kind of noticed that they didn't really understand the process of this visa. And that's why I would totally advise people to go with a lawyer that has handled these cases because this is kind of a new visa. So there may be lawyers that say, hey, like, yes, we can do it. But the requirements are like so specific. And now this year, the UGE, the Unidad de Grandes Empresas, which is the dependency that handles these applications, they have included a bunch, like a lot more requirements than before. So it's much better to go safe and with people that have already handled these cases. So you helped me with that and with a lot of other things. And yeah, that's how I landed in this country. I had never been in Spain before, as I know that there are many people that do or want to do scouting trips. If that's in your possibilities, I would advise to do that. Like also, it's very helpful. That way you can test drive and get a vibe of like specific cities because cities have personalities too, just like people.
Yeah, they
So
do.
there are cities that are right for you, and there are cities that maybe they are not as right for you, even if they're like very touristic or that a lot of people like them, or cities that to do tourism versus cities to live are two very different things. And you have to, like, if you can test that vibe beforehand before moving, that'd be really useful. So I had no idea if I was going to like it. And honestly, I gave myself a year. Like I said, well, I get the visa for 3 years, but if after a year I feel like I'm not adjusting to the country, that I kind of like not see myself there long term, I will go back to my country. So I thought that, and no, I really fell in love with Spain. And especially well with in Cordoba. I live in Cordoba. I landed in Cordoba. I tried finding places in different cities, and I didn't have any luck with Airbnbs or other platforms. It just didn't work for me. Like I was like, well, where am I going to live? And I was starting to get anxious about that, of course. But then somebody suggested, I have a friend living here that, hey, like she told me that Cordoba is a nice city to live. It has everything. And so yeah, like I was like, I had barely heard of Cordoba before, honestly. And I even searched in Sevilla for places, nothing in Sevilla either. So, but Cordoba, when I saw this place in Cordoba, I'm like, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly what I want. I go for it. And because it really ticked all the boxes. It's amazing how like at the first try, I just like landed here. And so it's great to see how in other cities it just didn't work out like at all. I would like get ghosted or get no response at all. And yeah, like then I come here and everything just unfolds for me in very even miraculous ways. So yeah, like I really would encourage anybody that is hearing this or seeing this and getting a bit discouraged that the plans on certain cities are just falling through. It might be a sign that you're being really led. Yeah, like you're being
Somewhere
guided.
else. Yeah, guided. What was it about Cordoba when you actually saw it for the first time that you fell in love with?
Well, I remember that. Well, I came here and like so I just like the vibe probably since I left the train station because I came from Madrid. So then I just like got into the city and I took a taxi to be in this place with my luggage and everything, and I just like I was like, I kind of like it here. So then I felt like, well, this is me now. This is like my life in Spain is really starting out. I moved solo, so it was also like that big change in my life. And I just started like after I started going out, like getting my appointments or like for the TIA card, like all the bureaucracy, the banks and everything, but also like walking around the city. Like I just felt like I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm actually living here. So because other times it's just cities that I visited. So it feels very different when you're not a tourist anymore. So yeah, like that yeah, you feel a lot in your body, and it can be hard to process, but you just like feel it. I don't really
Mm.
feel like there was a time where I said like, oh, like I see myself living here for a couple of years. It happened gradually until I finally noticed that, hey, like I see myself living here for more than a couple of years maybe.
Mm.
So yeah, like after I started exploring the city and all the landmarks, the historical landmarks, this city has so much history, and I love that. I was actively searching for that. So it was that. So I visited around the Juderia, the center, the Alcázar, the Mezquita, and like all these very emblematic places. Yeah, like just seeing like so much history, like you see Roman history here, medieval history here, then Christians, and it's amazing. That's one of the things that I love most about the city.
Very pretty as well, isn't it? Don't they have some form of kind of competition with regards to like the flowers and all the blue pots? I think Cordoba's kind of renowned for just these beautiful kind of street displays, aren't they, of people having the flowers outside their homes, which makes it
Yes.
exceptionally beautiful because people like upkeep, as many Spanish villages do. I mean, many are just stunning towns and villages and cities, but I think Cordoba's particularly known for being aesthetically pretty with the flower arrangements that people have outside their houses.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
really
especially in
beautiful.
May. May is a big date, a big month here for because of the patios, they call it. So it's basically houses of people that probably have owned these houses that have been in their families for decades or even centuries, and they open up these places with all these plants and they are as a visitor you can just go in and check it out and some even offer like something like Pedro Jimenez, which is a very popular liquor. It's like an alcoholic beverage that it's very traditional from here. It's very sweet. So don't let yourself be fooled by the sweetness. But yeah, like sometimes they offer something like that, like the host, just to welcome people in their homes. And
Nice.
also, but sometimes in December you can see also plants like the Pascuas. It's like this very specific Christmas
Nice.
plant that
Yeah.
it's like everything stops just for the tradition. It's impossible for even buses to circulate, much less cars in the center. So it's all for walking and seeing like all these customs and yeah, like it just that there's so much about so there's so much to see. It's very rich.
Moving to Spain and never visiting Spain before previously to do any of the scouting trips, how anxious were you in making a life-changing move like that, uprooting everything that you had in El Salvador and moving across to Spain? Having never stepped foot in Spain before, like how did that make you feel? Like were your anxiety levels like through the roof, or had you done enough research that you were quite calm about it? So you were sure that this was the destination, even if it was for a few years. Like, how did you feel? Because I think increasingly more and more people are moving countries and they've never been there. So I just find it intriguing as somebody that came for like every year for 15 years to get a feel for the place. To me, the thought of moving to a country and never being there scares me to death. But you were brave enough to do it. So how did you feel about that?
Oh, yeah, well, of course, I was anxious. Probably it contributed to lower my anxiety a little bit at the language part because, well, I speak Spanish, but it's not this Spanish. Like, still, sometimes there are like expressions or like I have been like learning and or to understand what they mean because yeah like every region in Spain has their own like ways of to talk and expressions and words for things but yeah like maybe that helped lower down my anxiety a bit, but I still felt like it was such a big move because I had also never lived on my own. I had never done this on my own. Maybe thinking about all of these things kind of put some kind of fog on that fact, at least for the first few weeks, because I was so focused on like getting the application together, like then getting the application approval, then like doing all these steps, like opening the bank account, signing up for Hacienda, for Social Security, and everything else, El Padrón, everything. So a lot of like my mental energy was focused on that. But after, I think after I solved the Padron thing and then I got access to the sanitary card, is that it was like, yeah, like I'm really like now I'm really on my own here. So I think that it took like some weeks to like really settle like that feeling that I can't believe I did this on my own. And now even family back home say like, how did Isa do that? So why? Like what happened? But it doesn't mean that it doesn't have the anxiety. Of course, like everything, it's a lot. And I think that you kind of see that after, well, being living like living here for over a year now. You probably feel it more with like specific moments or when things happen, like whether it's a good thing and if I was back home I would like share this with my family, now I can't. Or if something like not so good happens, it's like also yes, like I had my support system there, but here I am my own support system. So but yeah, like even with that it's totally worth it. Like I really love it that I did it. I wanted to do that. At some point, I just decided that it was time that to stop procrastinating. There was this visa. There was well the that's another topic, but the social security and the being because I live with a chronic condition, so even that this visa allowed me to move, even with that we got without so that was so it felt so so like a miracle that I was like, if I don't take this right now, I will regret it for the rest of my life. Like I think I got to that realization, like when if you surf and with surface, like just like kind of like seeing the wave that it's like growing and growing, and you're like here, like not really sure, should I ride it, should I take it this wave or not, what, and then just like go for it. So that was what I did. I just decided to go for it because
Absolutely. But kudos to you for doing it as well. I mean, never stepping foot in a country, being so far away as El Salvador and doing it on your own, never living on your own after living with your
yes.
family in El Salvador. So, I mean, these are like huge steps. Like you built huge step on top of each other, right? This wasn't moving with a partner and you spent loads of time in Spain and you were coming from, England, say 2.5 hours away or whatever. So like these were like huge steps and you did them all in style. I've worked with you to get you here and like you took everything in your stride and you did everything that you were meant to do. And I take my hat off to you because you're one brave woman, Isa, and look how it's paid off. You're living in Cordoba. But as you said, going back to, not having family here. So how has the transition been with making friends specifically in Cordoba, which is, in inland Spain? It's not coastal. It gets hot in summer and as you are
Oh
at the
yes.
moment, a little bit cold in winter. But I know how important the support network is. Obviously, you speak Spanish, which makes life a little bit easier than for those coming over that doesn't. But what's your friendship group look like now, and how easy or difficult was it to make friends?
Well, I guess that's always a challenge when you're moving a country to a new country. Of course, well, I have this friend that we went together to college, and we actually kind of drifted apart for a few years. Then we reconnected. So yeah, like and then now we have like we're still. It's amazing because it feels like. Well, also almost feels like I was back in college when we just couldn't like meet for like coffee or do something or do errands in the city. So that's nice. But also, what I like about like this city specifically, probably it's because I found that group. There are groups of people. Sometimes they are led by Spanish people. Sometimes they're led by expats. But these groups that you can find on Facebook can be really useful when they plan some meetups and a lot of other like you meet also a lot of other people just like you moving to the city or to the country. So I think it's that's really helpful. I have actually through one of those groups, I have made a friend. Like she's from Estonia, and we meet like for coffee, like every at least once a month, or sometimes once every 2 months. Well, we can't meet that like that often either, but we're here. And also, well, she speaks English. She speaks some Spanish, but still English is her main language. So we can totally like talk with about a lot of things, and we connected through that group. So it's good to have this have an open mind and see what else like what's out there. And like regardless of the city that you move to, you can always see what's on Facebook or where you can find groups and also activities. And I think that there's an effort that we can all do to like go to places where we can connect with people. And yeah, and you never know when you can meet a friend there, but it's always good to have an open mind.
It is putting yourself out there, pulling
Yeah.
yourself out your comfort zone sometimes, and going to events and meetups is definitely a great way to meet new people because everybody needs some friends when they move to their new country. So I'm
Yes.
really pleased that you've got a friends network now. In between working hard, you can go out and enjoy yourself as in Cordoba. That's really nice. So finally, if somebody was thinking of moving to Spain and they hadn't been to Spain before, but they had a pull, a desire to change their life like you did, what key bit of advice would you give that person about moving to a country they haven't stepped foot in before?
Well, I probably would say to like check in with themselves and their heart, because when you're planning something like this, it's very often people may misunderstand you, or people may be like, especially if you don't need it, because migration has been associated for a very long time, for centuries actually, to necessity, to like you move because you have to, because there's no more food here, so you have to go and find where it's food, or where there is work, or whatever, right? So it's also with this sense of survival. But actually, but this that doesn't, it's not always the case. Like I know that, but we know that many people have to do it because yes, we're right. But even if you don't feel like you need it, and people may point out that you don't need it, like why would you put yourself through this a process like this without having the need to do that? It usually means it's because it's in your heart. It's because you wanted it. There's something inside moving that doesn't stop, that encourages you to like check out other expats stories, or people that have moved or have done this correctly or right, or like on the right time, or when they wanted, or after a big life change. Like there are many reasons. So when you feel it there, when you're like checking out internet a little bit too much about how to do this, maybe it's because there is like, it's your heart, it's your soul calling you to a specific place. I would encourage to do this with the as much planning as you can. It actually helps you to enjoy the experience even more once you're there. The amount of planning, and I don't regret all the planning that I did. But the first, don't ignore that it's within you. Second, plan as much as you can, so you can increase your chances of succeeding it. But even with the planning, there may be things that may change. So plans change, or things change, circumstances. So things may change. So be flexible too, and have an open mind and adapt to each, because yeah, like that's one of the big things that migration teaches you. I think it's just to adapt as quick as you can to like the unexpected, and embrace that, because yeah, like definitely if your soul is calling you to do that, it's for something. So yeah, like embrace that, the whole process.
Love that. Embrace the whole process. Absolutely. Make sure you get your planning down. You're going to have to do a lot of planning, right? But ultimately follow your heart. Like you say, it's got to come from within to want to make the leap. And look, as I always say to people, if you don't like it, you can move somewhere else. You can always move back to your home country, right? But if you have that calling to check out Spain and see if it really is a country that's going to feed your soul, then at least give it a go with as much
Yes,
planning beforehand, of course, so mistakes don't happen. But ultimately, we've all followed our hearts that are here, right? You, me,
yes.
everybody else that's moved over to Spain. There's been some form of calling, some form of pull. So very wise words. Well, thank you today for sharing your experience with us, Isa. And you've made yourself a wonderful life in Cordoba. I'm really pleased for you that you're really happy and you're settled there.